Hello everyone, this is Air and I am super excited because we are at 40,000 subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you and I've decided to do a fun little giveaway and the winner will get $40. The first person to get the right answer, which has already been written down, will be contacted and will get a shout out in a video. I'm going to read you guys a short little story that I've created and you guys will need to tell me who killed Santa. You will need to pick the right murderer, the right weapon, and the right scene of the crime. So, here we go. It was a cold, snowy day, and Santa was making last-minute preparations for his VIP party later that night. He had invited Jingles the elf, who was his top toy maker, Rudolph, his favorite reindeer, and his best friends Frosty the Snowman and Sam the Snowman. Mrs. Claus had just finished making her homemade chocolate chip cookies when all of the guests started to arrive. Santa put on all of his favorite holiday hits, and everyone came in the house one by one. The fresh cookies smelled so good, but Frosty and Sam refused because they did not want to melt, so told Mrs. Claus they would eat some when they cooled down. Everyone convened by the fireplace, sharing stories, but Sam and Frosty eventually walked to the other side of the living room near the ice maker so they wouldn't be too warm. Mrs. Claus felt bad that the snowmen were all alone, so she walked over to them with her cookies and asked them if they wanted to go outside in the snow and enjoy the cooler cookies. Sam and Frosty agreed, so they went outside. Sam the Snowman got distracted and began to admire Santa's brand new sleigh, so he sat inside and started to think what it would be like to fly it himself. Mrs. Claus and Frosty walked away and began to converse and eat cookies off to the side. Back inside the house, everyone noticed that some had left the party, so Jingles offered to show Rudolph some of his new toy creations in the workshop, and Rudolph agreed. They told Santa they would be right back, so Santa sat down as Jingles and Rudolph walked out of the house. When they made it outside, Jingles noticed Frosty and Mrs. Claus talking and offered them to come to the workshop as well. Frosty agreed, but Mrs. Claus said she was going to go back inside to check on Santa. Before they made it to the workshop, Rudolph noticed Sam in Santa's sleigh. Usually, he was overprotective about people in Santa's sleigh without his permission, but Rudolph decided not to say anything for the time being. Jingles, Rudolph, and Frosty were now in the workshop. Jingles showed them his new toy, and they were so happy for Jingles. Rudolph was overjoyed, his nose began to glow, and he started to fly all over the workshop. He accidentally knocked over some toys and broke them, but before anyone could notice, he met with Jingles and Frosty and said he was going to head back to Santa's house. Earlier, Mrs. Claus had said that she was going to go check on Santa inside, but instead she went to go see what Sam was doing in Santa's sleigh. She sat next to Sam, closed her eyes, and she listened to Sam the Snowman talk about everything he would do if he had a sleigh. When Rudolph went inside the house, he noticed Santa was nowhere to be found. He heard creaks on top of the roof and figured that Santa had climbed up the chimney. He was right. On top of the roof, Santa had been observing everyone and thought he had seen some naughty behavior. He saw Rudolph sneaking out of the workshop and hiding things in the snow. He saw Sam in his sleigh and Mrs. Claus nowhere to be found. Santa did not realize that Mrs. Claus had noticed him coming out of the chimney, so she quickly got out of the sleigh and left to the workshop through the back. At that moment, Frosty had sneezed and a gust of cold wind blew and rattled some toys. Jingles saw that some toys had broken and stormed out of the workshop. What he didn't realize was that the broken toys were because of Rudolph and not Frosty. Lightning struck, the power went out, and everyone came outside and met next to Rudolph's glowing nose. Jingles was there, Sam and Frosty were there, Mrs. Claus was there, but the only one missing was Santa. They called out for Santa, but there was no reply. Santa was dead. Okay, now you guys, so you have to let me know in the comments below who killed Santa. Was it Sam the Snowman, Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph, Mrs. Claus, or Jingles the Elf? You also have to tell me what the murder weapon was as well. Was it a fireplace poker, poisoned cookies, a reindeer antler, or an icicle? And last but not least, you have to tell me the location of Santa's death. Was it inside Santa's house, inside the workshop, on top of the roof, or in Santa's sleigh? The first person to get the answer correct will get $40 sent to them, and I will reach out to you. Thank you again for the 40K subs, and I look forward to seeing the answers.